plan sort of derived then based on
and that they could see that there's future in planning. So that is why they are not being.
I'm just a comment on the gym, but I don't think.
I still think these guys
Well, certainly.
yeah, so like I said, this is good.
We are trying to find a marginal cost. First, we have to interpret the question, right? So what we realize is that if we interpret the question, we are saying that we have to look at very different levels and different spaces, right? Now, we look at various levels such as the local level, regional level, and international levels. And then we look at various spaces. But the summary is that planning is affected in different spaces and levels. And affected by politics, affected by the various stakeholders, private sector. But guess what? The planner acts as a translator, a facilitator, a problem solver, in that what we do is that we interact with the various stakeholders and we listen carefully what each stakeholder has to say, then we interpret it and translate it, and then we actually come up with what we decide what is being said, right? So just quickly to give you a joke. So everybody wants a horse, but when we are finished, we end up with a camel, right? Or a donkey, right? No, at the regional level, the planners are also leading at the regional level. But we are impacted by issues related to translation, various countries, various planners, everything else. But we realize a perfect opportunity where the CPA provides a very good response mechanism to that aspect. At the international level though, Caribbean planners are impacted in several ways, such as whose agenda? Do we have a voice at the table? Right? When we actually seek to get loans or get any form of financing, sometimes what is being pushed down on us is what they, and it's not our Caribbean Development Bank, they're perfect, right? is what the loan and grant agencies want. But we also have to think about the other angle, that planners within the Caribbean actually have unique experiences. We have been making so much out of what little we have. We have been having experiences such as climate change impacts, we have had homelessness, we have had drainage issues, hurricane, earthquakes. We have a multiplicity of things that other countries do not experience. And we have survived in that we have been resilient. So what you find happening is that we have been allowed. So others have come in and they're actually learning from us and they are exporting to solve their issues. But what we need to do is to create a critical mass amongst ourselves, that we can share our experiences and we can go. But do we have the power and the influence to do that? We've saw experience where other persons are coming in, when issues arise, they're taking doctors, teachers, nurses, and other persons to actually go to these countries to help us solve their problems, including planners. So, in closing, it's a long paper, but I'm closing. We need to find a way in which we are doing to sit at the table, be equal partners, so that we can influence decision making at the local, regional, and international level. But our responses as planners, we are leading in that we have found a way to do so. Okay?
It's not our discussion. discussing about the differences actually there are between all the different islands in the Caribbean, and how that may make it more difficult to actually either follow or be or leading into the designing of solutions. But then by analyzing the differences, we realize that what is common of all the islands is that each of them have a strong cultural identity.
Yeah.
And that lets us to discuss about how much planning can help promote that identity, or on the other hand, how much of the planning can strangle that identity into, and the risk of through over planning not showing what is good about, for example, informal settlement, which have all sorts of problems, but at the same time present some positive elements. So we started to think about a sort of Caribbean planning that could incorporate the social capital and can incorporate the cultural identity and the energy of these communities, while avoiding the conformity and the uniformity of top-down planning. We discussed quite a lot about the use of form-based code to do that, so how to use a series of instruments to do that. But most importantly, we realized that even if a Caribbean planning like that is developed, no island can lead or the other will follow. All we can do is share it. So it's not about Caribbean spatial planning following or leading, it's Caribbean spatial planning sharing among ourselves solutions. And environments like this one are a perfect example of where to do it. We have a feeling that there are not enough of these opportunities. Well, going back to this concept of Caribbean planning through somehow getting the best of planning and informality and innovation from the communities. We also discussed the needs to make universal planning concept, including resiliency, into this equation in some way. We also discussed the importance of then relationship with the community. So if we want to extract from the communities these cultural elements, the planners need neither to have a following or leading relationship with the community, but again, a sharing relationship with the community. That I think sum it up.
On this table, spatial planners lead a follow. And we believe that spatial planners lead, but sometimes we lead from behind. And it's not that we lead, but it's how we lead. Spatial planners lead by negotiation, convincing, analyzing. First we analyze. And we are not the geometric persons. Although in school we draw a set of lines, we are saying that spatial planners are the social beings in the room. They go out, they get involved, they get people involved, and they get participation in order to find the solutions. So while we require others to find solutions, we are leading at the same time. But like one of my colleagues said, the beauty of planning, what was it? You can make that statement. Yeah? Planning is successful planning is letting someone believe that it's their solution when you actually pull it out of them. So small developing states, we have a different perspective to any consultant who comes in who believes that they're going to lay the solution on the table first. And because of our cultural identity, we must take, similar to what the table said, we believe that we are sharing the same notes. We must take our experiences and bring them out in what we do, because if we're gonna do things for our communities, it must be something that is it must be something heartfelt. It must be something that they can take and carry along, not to see something foreign, something foreign. That's something that is not culturally, that doesn't bring the cultural feel. When you go to a Caribbean country, you should feel as if you're in a Caribbean country. Yes? We are affected by climate change, and most affected by climate change. Because whilst we are a small and we would be a village in other jurisdictions, we have the same exact issues. We have the issues of transport, we have the issues of housing, we have the issues of drainage, we have all of the issues to contend with. But all of them, although we're small, we have the coast to protect. So all of it's not a microcosm. It's actually multiplied. There's a multiplier, and therefore we must take on these things full. We must really take the hands, and because of that, we think that the planner must be a leader. Okay? So all the things that we have to contend with when we have limited resources. And because of these limited resources, it requires innovative thinking. And therefore we must be the leaders in the room. It is just how we do it and how we make others feel while we're doing it.
Planners are both followers and leaders. So we kind of follow existing trends as like the demographic shifts, where we have shifts in land use in particular areas. We kind of follow that in a way, but we also are able to lead with as we empower persons, and public will is able to empower planners to lead. And there is the recent Planning Act puts planners in a position where we have more power and more ability to act in a leadership role. We're very reactive to like changes in demographic needs and to the political will and
Alright. See, I'm following the lead. So, follow yes, lead no, adopt or adapt. You see now? Yeah. They say adopt and adapt. So, we're saying in both cases, history has shown us we have been following, being our colonial history, we have been inherited our planning styles from Britain, so we have been following those styles. So Caribbean planners, in a sense, all our training and a lot of stuff, so we are following some of that sense. So who are we following? Old European plans based on European funding. So based on a lot of funding that we get dictated to us how we should carry out plans and how we, so in that sense we have to follow the terms of agreements, system model that old plans, and from MDGs to SDGs, directives from top government. Alright, so the evolution now is where we had a lot of interesting discussions, and where we go. Community engagement, governance, incorporation, the plans, the policies, methodology, and index. So we were looking and saying a lot of times now where we see planners have to, our local systems, how do we lead in those? And where our different strategies, what you see that persons are dictating on you that you should use. And locally you find indigenous styles, indigenous techniques that we have been using in certain ways to solve our own local problems. So those we lead in coming up with our own standards. So again, as some of our colleagues said before, there is both, we are leading in some areas and we are following. And I think the best word that we can use is how do we adapt? Because we have to be adapt to new ways of doing things. Climate change has shown us that we have to adapt. You know, so it's not about just following what persons are saying. You have to look on your local situation and say, how do you use information that you have been given, trends that we have been seeing, and how do we now lead? And based on that, we came up. All right, so in leading, based on location plus vulnerability, we tailor policies and plans. And what else do you want here? Environment, planning context, value adding, cultural norms. So, and acceptance, yes. Cultural norm and acceptance. So in terms of what person coming locally, Trinidad has some things, and Jamaica has our own cultural norms, Barbados, Suriname. How do we look at the cultural norms and use that and lead your people towards achieving proper spatial planning and development? And based on that, we coined a little statement to say, as planners, we are to follow emerging trends in order to lead our populace to better solution towards increased resilience.